Hello, everyone, and welcome to Once Upon a Time at the Oscars.
The show that takes you through every Best Picture nominee from 1927 to today.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Ryan.
We are closing out yet another year, the 6th Academy Award year.
Yes.
Which means we've gone through another 10 films. We've had mostly a blast, I would say. I think the 5th Academy year is kind of a high point for us so far.
I'd say we mostly had a blast.
Yeah. That 5th year, though, we were like, every one of these movies is watchable.
Well, and the order that we watched them in, I think, was smart. Because release order, obviously. But that was beneficial because we start with Cavalcade. And we're like, ooh boy. But then we get into some heavy hitters. We got to watch I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, 42nd Street, for me personally, Lady for a Day, Little Women, She Done Him Wrong, which was just notable for what it was. Smiling Through, like we got some good. Did we start with Smiling Through?
We started with Smiling Through.
Okay, never mind. I liked Smiling Through.
Yeah, it was fun.
Maybe that was better. I was like, oh, this is good. And then Cavalcade, you're like, oh.
Yeah, we definitely hit some low points this year.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't think we did the 5th year. That will always be a standout to me. The 5th year. The 3rd year and the 5th year are big for me.
Yeah.
But this is all unimportant.
Well, the 5th year was special for you because you hadn't seen any of those. That was the first year?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. But today we are talking the 6th Academy Awards, which is a big deal for multiple reasons. Like I said, they weren't all heavy hitters, but this is, if you've been following along, we've been talking about movies from 1932 and 1933 for what feels like an eternity. And that is because this covers the window of time from August 1st, 1932 and December 31st, 1933, the longest window in Academy history. That's 17 months.
Yeah, so, and that's the first and only time that'll happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, after this, to much of our delight, we will be covering, just solid years. Next year, we're covering the movies released in 1934. That's it.
And when you say 1934, what's the time frame of that?
January 1st, 1934 to December 31st, 1934.
Which is a dream.
It's beautiful. We can finally say, we're talking about the 1935 Oscars, the 1936 Oscars. We don't have to do this weird blah, blah. I'll probably still refer to them as the 7th and the 8th Academy Awards.
Right.
Because it does flow better. But just no more confusion. And I'm thrilled for that.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, it's been really difficult to tell people where we are right now.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, we're on the 6th Academy year, but that's 1932 to 33, but that's also years. Just what? Listen.
Yeah.
And then once we get to 34, it'll be like 1934.
Yes.
Just that. You don't have to say the
Plain
Academy year
simple.
anymore. You can just say the year.
I'm so looking forward to it. And this is just wild in general, because 17 months is such a long time. And that long window is also another element of why this is such a big year, because there were some behind-the-scenes turmoil going on with the Academy in a way that, the first 5 years of the Academy itself were pretty smooth sailing. It had, some ups and downs, and they were really trying to recruit more members, but it was more the struggles of, a new organization. For the most part, it was on an upward climb in popularity.
Right.
During this time, it almost completely vanished, and that's pretty wild for something as huge as the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. So, do you want to get right into the ceremony, or do you want to talk a little bit about some of that behind the scenes?
I think we should probably talk about the behind the scenes because that leads to what I want to talk about with the ceremony, because it was kind of chaotic, but in a fun way.
Yeah. So, ultimately, the big issue here is the Depression was going on. Obviously, the entire country was struggling financially, including the studios. And a big thing that sparked the Academy's downfall here is when President Roosevelt was elected president. 2 days later, he shut down the banks to kind of prevent people from going in, doing what's called a run on the banks. They were going in and pulling out all of their money, and he wanted that to stop until they were able to fix what was going on with the banks themselves. Mm-hmm. So when this happened, the studios were like, okay, we're not paying anybody until the banks open back up. They didn't want to bleed money either because they are also struggling financially. Because of that, they needed somebody to come in and come up with a plan for how they're going to handle basically the economy itself at that point. And as we talked about, there were no big unions the way there are today because the Academy existed as a union buster.
Right.
So they were in charge of making these decisions and these plans and these deals ultimately. So the Academy steps in and they suggest everybody in the industry take a 50% pay cut across the board. That's actors, that's crew members. I think anybody that was making less than $50 a day or a week, I don't remember the contract, they were safe. But everybody else was going to take a pay cut, studio heads included. This caused like chaos across the board because this is a big deal. This led to a bunch of changes in studios and just in the way the industry formed. One example, Harry and Jack Warner over at Warner Brothers refused to take pay cuts. But then Daryl Zanuck, who was the production head of that studio, he took that 50% pay cut. And he was like, what is this? That's not fair. So not only did he resign from Warner Brothers and go over and create his own studio, 20th Century, which eventually merges with Fox, becoming 20th Century Fox, he also is one of many people to resign from the Academy itself. So because of this decision that the Academy makes, tons of people decide, okay, well, we're leaving the Academy because they're not looking out for our best interest. Another big name here that was affected in a big way from this Academy decision is Conrad Nagel, who was president at the time. He didn't like what was going on specifically with Warner Brothers, so he tried to publicly speak out as Academy president, and there was a huge fight with him and Warner Brothers. So he also resigned from the Academy and kind of went on hiatus from Hollywood in general. So the way he's been like he shows up at all these events and stuff, and he hosts the Academy Awards, and he shows up for the Grand Hotel red carpet premiere. He goes away from doing a lot of that as like the Hollywood MC, and that is because of what's going on with the Academy. So by the end of 1933, because of all of this stuff going on with the Depression and the Academy making decisions, the Academy had lost like a fifth of their membership. They were really falling apart. There's a cat going nuts in the background. It's so difficult. By the end of 1933, though, the bank balance of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science was $301, and their monthly expenses were $1,700. So they were bleeding money fast.
Yeah, $1,400 deficit.
Yeah. So a big reason they had this big stretch, 17-month stretch of like when movies were eligible was, one, they couldn't really afford the Academy Awards themselves, so they decided to cancel it. And then also they wanted it to kind of be clean going into the future of just, 1 year they're covering at a time.
Right.
There's a quote here from Variety magazine at the end of 1933 that says, "The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science is about to fold up completely and fall into the ash can of oblivion." So we're really talking the downfall of the Academy itself.
And it's very funny to be reading all of that on page 32 out of a 450-page book about the Academy.
Right, which isn't even up to date.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, this is the 80.
Yeah.
Not the 90.
So it's 18 years
Missing.
out of date or whatever. It's wild.
Crazy.
The Academy itself was so close to completely disappearing. And some other cool things that came from all of this, I will say when Conrad Nagel resigned as president, soundman J.T. Reed took over as the president. So during the 6th Academy Awards, he is the head of the Academy. But also, the Screenwriters Guild was around in 1920, but kind of not as like an official guild. They did become official in April of 1933 to kind of combat the Academy serving as like the quote-unquote union for everybody.
Interesting.
Now the writers had a place to go. And I think I read that there were 124 writers in the Academy, and all but 7 of them joined the Screenwriters Guild. So they were gaining members faster than the Academy was losing members. Also in July 1933, the Screen Actors Guild was formed. So not only was this a really low point in the Academy's history, but because of everything going on there, this led to the creation of many of the guilds that still exist today and protect, the writers and the actors and all of that. And some which have even gone on to have their own award shows that we talk about, in the award season leading up to the Academy Awards every year. So that's pretty much like a short, sweet summary of what was going on with the Academy and how close we got to just everything going away.
Well, it's interesting because the movies that we have talked about this month, and we'll talk about today, were all depictions of how the Depression was affecting everyone.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how it affected the actual studios on top of that. We've heard a lot about the success of some of these movies, like helping getting them out of bankruptcy. So that's helpful, but that's only some studios, right?
Right,
Ultimately, the industry is still facing those hardships.
Yeah, I had made a comment in one of the episodes about how there was only one studio operating out of the red. That was MGM at the time. So,
Right.
yeah, everybody was bleeding money, and the Academy just made things worse, ultimately. So, really fascinating to see a moment in history where this organization that, you know, we don't hold in like the most perfect regards, but we do. I mean, we have an Oscar podcast. We sit down and we watch the Academy Awards every year, and it's become this really prestigious event and everything. It was doing some awful stuff in the early 30s, and it almost led to its complete eradication. So,
But thankfully it didn't.
yeah, because now we get to do this for the next 10 years.
Well, you know, I'm having fun. We'll keep
How
going.
dare you? What? You give me an, you come to my house once a week.
Look, the cat is also a little concerned about 10 years. That's really what it comes down to.
He's struggling out there.
I always like to think that, like, sometimes when you're monologuing a bit about the history of the Oscars, that, like, they're just doing the same thing. He's just like,
cat.
yeah, he's like, yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do.
And another thing.
Talk about Charles Lawton.
Yeah. I like him.
All right, Kat. Yeah, thank you for the breakdown. I mean, again, it's really cool to see the behind the scenes of how everything was affected by the Great Depression and not just how the studios were portraying those stories to kind of help people who were also suffering at that time.
Yeah.
So it's a good breakdown.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I want to point out, too, I got a lot of the information from that book I've been reading, Oscar Wars. So good.
You gifted me this for my birthday.
Yeah. It's really great, man. And this is... It kind of highlights specific points in Oscar history, and this is maybe the second point. There's the creation, and then there's this. So definitely worth reading if you haven't yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't yet, but I'm very excited to break down further. I'm waiting for a year when the nominations aren't plentiful.
Sure.
So that I have some time to.
Yeah.
Also worth noting, you mentioned that this was the only time that there has been more than a 12-month span for nominations. But not the most nominations we'll see in a year.
Which, we'll talk about that more next year. Absurd. To be like, hey, we're only doing 12 months, but also we're doing 13 movies.
Kind of crazy how that worked out.
Yeah.
But about the ceremony itself, it did take place on March 16th, 1934, in the Fiesta Room of the Ambassador Hotel.
We're back, baby.
We're back in the Fiesta Room. And the Fiesta Room is a good name for this ceremony.
Yeah.
Because this was a little chaotic of a year.
Totally.
And I want to go ahead and say that not just for the nominations, but for Will Rogers alone, who is our host for the evening.
Oh, boy.
There's some instances of him causing a little bit of chaos here. And I got to tell you, I think it's fun chaos. It's not good for the people that it involves.
No.
But as an audience, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about specific moments when we get to those categories.
Agreed.
But for the most part, like, he did a lot that I don't necessarily agree with, but he did a lot to shape kind of the future of the way Oscars themselves are presented.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that we look at with Oscars now is like kind of like something that's quoted in the book as unrehearsed fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting to get into. So you're right. We'll get into those as we get the nominations, but just keep in mind, Will Rogers will be popping up a good bit here.
Totally.
So, in our nominations, we will be covering the following: short subjects, assistant director, sound recording, art direction, cinematography, writing, directing, actress, actor, and outstanding production. Also worth noting that special awards is technically something that they would do, but this year there was no special awards.
Yeah.
Last year we talked about Walt Disney being awarded here under this category.
Yep.
And that was for his work with, what short was it?
It was Flowers and Trees.
It was the introduction of, Flowers and Trees won.
Oh,
but
right,
it's his introduction of, or creation of Mickey Mouse.
Oh, right. Yes. For his special award.
Right. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah. Well, let me just highlight real quick. You mentioned assistant director.
Yes.
So that is a new category here this year. It's a category that stuck around until right around 1937, and we'll talk specifics about that in a moment when we get to that category. But one other interesting thing about this year is second and third place runners were announced for these categories.
Yes.
And that's something that goes away. But
Did that last very long?
no. I think once they hired whatever company, it's like Prices and Watermark or something, to do the counting of the ballots, they did away with all of that.
Copy. It's also worth noting, we'll get there, but assistant director looks different even next year.
Yeah.
With the amount of nominations, and we'll get there.
Totally.
We'll start with short subjects, which short subjects always has two categories. It's going to be cartoons. Wow, you're right, 3. I just counted that. Cartoons, comedy, and novelty. And in cartoons, the nominees were Building a Building for Disney, The Merry Old Soul, Universal. This is Oswald the Rabbit, by the way. And The Three Little Pigs, also Disney, as a part of Silly Symphony.
Yeah.
And the winner for this category was The Three Little Pigs.
Right.
And this is the one that you're thinking of when you think of Three Little Pigs. It's going to be the 2 wearing the hat, the 1 wearing the overalls, Big Bad Wolf, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of blew my mind this was 1933. 32?
Why? Because of how early it was?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure
And just the longevity of something like this.
we've both seen this particular
Plenty
cartoon.
times.
I really enjoy it.
It's great.
One of my favorite things is in the Little Pig's house, the painting on the wall that's like supposed to be a portrait of like father, and it's just like sausage links. It's very funny.
It is great.
This win is a huge deal, though. It is the first time someone has won consecutive Academy Awards. So, again, we mentioned Disney won for Flowers and Trees the previous year. Now he's taken home essentially his 3rd Oscar, but his 2nd in a category consecutively.
Right. And then, of course, the only other nominee not being Disney was Universal.
Yeah.
So, kind of a rich playground for him for a while. And we'll see that continuing.
Time.
Yeah, for a while. With comedy for short subjects, the nominees were Mr. Mugg for Universal, A Preferred List, RKO Radio, and So This Is Harris, which was also RKO Radio. And the winner here was So This Is Harris for RKO Radio. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen any of these. I don't think any of them are available.
That makes sense.
I think they're all lost.
I mean, unless RKO puts out something for these.
Yeah.
It's hard to find these. I have not seen these either. And then the third and final category for short subjects is going to be novelty. And the nominees were Krakatoa, educational for, I'm seeing Joe Rock. I guess educational is the name of the studio.
I honestly don't know.
It literally just says educational, so we're going to rock with that. Menu, which was for MGM, and The Sea, which was also educational. And for these, Krakatoa was the winner.
Yeah, Krakatoa, most of it is lost at this point, but it is kind of cool. It's footage of an actual volcanic eruption.
Oh.
So really just kind of a documentary, but interesting.
I guess that makes sense with educational.
Yeah.
Same with The Seas, or The Sea.
Menu is a little funny. I want to point that out. It's just a dude cooking a duck. Or it's a housewife. Or it's both of them. I forgot.
Just confirming, it's the guy cooking the duck and not the guy cooking the housewife. It's the housewife cooking the duck. Is that what you mean?
Yes, yeah, that's
wonderful.
what it is.
Just making sure, because I have seen the menu, so I'm just not this one, but the one with Ray Fiennes. So I'm just making sure I understand where the housewife fits into that.
Exactly. Nailed it.
I appreciate you on that.
Dude, that's what shorts were at this time, though. In this category, it's literally someone cooking a duck.
Well, it makes sense because we're watching feature-length films and we're like, this could have been a short.
Yeah.
So now a short's like, I had time to cook. That's all I could do.
It's bizarre.
That leads us to our next category, which is assistant director. Do you want to take this? And also, if you do, how do you want to take it?
So, assistant director is, like we said, a new category, and it's interesting how they handled it the first year. It looks like every major studio had a winner for assistant director.
Right.
So there were multiple nominations, but each studio chose one winner, of course.
And not even the same amount. I mean, Fox had 2, MGM had 3.
Yeah,
It
right.
varies.
There's so many directors here, and I think what I'm going to do, not to, kind of take away anything from the people that were nominated but didn't win.
There's at least 15 to 20 nominations.
Right. So I'm just going to go down the list of the winners themselves.
Sure.
You had William Tummel at Fox, Charles Dorian at Metron-Goldwyn-Mayer, Charles Barton at Paramount, Dewey Starkey at RKO Radio, Fred Fox at United Artists, Scott Beale at Universal, and Gordon Hollingshead at Warner Brothers. This is such an interesting category to me because it's not something that we really brought up while we were covering any of these movies. I am curious to know how many of these directors were actually attached to the Best Picture nominees themselves. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Well, it's interesting because we talked a lot about, 1 hour with you, and then we'll talk about the House of Rothschild in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
There are instances of directors coming in and taking over, and like maybe temporarily, maybe for the rest of the film, but we'll see that pick up. And we've talked about those names, but those names aren't present here. These really are just the assistant directors.
Right.
And I'm interested once we get to maybe the wrap of this category in like the academies to come, or the ceremonies to come, why we may see that go away.
Yeah. How do you feel about this being a category in general? Do you think it should stick around?
I'm not going to be the one to say that assistant directors or any group of people on films don't deserve that recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a miracle when a movie is good, that all those pieces came together in the way they did. So I think everyone deserves recognition in that respect. But I will say it's interesting that assistant director has taken precedence over some other things, right? Like supporting actors is a big one.
Editing
Stuff like
is
that, huge. Yeah. Score, which
right.
I know wasn't really hugely prevalent. One of these movies that we'll talk about has the first instance, Little Women, that we have seen where the score is actually like a distinct score in that movie, for that movie. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say it shouldn't be there, but I'm surprised that this took precedence over some other things.
Yeah, I think to me, at least the work I do on a film set, the person I interact probably the most or see the most is the assistant director. So it is like, oh, this is kind of cool seeing that role being recognized. But I think if it were something to be honored in the future, it would almost be like, okay, well, we can only have so many categories, so maybe put it with the technical, maybe at the Governor Awards or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be something that would get me blasted by people if I said that, who were in the Academy. But that's kind of where I think they deserve recognition. It's just maybe too much for the actual award ceremony itself.
And if you want to put Kyle on blast, our email is AUATO.
Yep, that's the one.
I feel like it's not, and that's why you said
OUTAO podcast at gmail.com.
Wait, OUATO. Is that
OUTAO.
At
I left out the at.
Oh.
OUTAO.
Oh, sure.
Out AO is what it is.
Wow, that would make so much more sense for me to remember in the future. If only I listened to these episodes.
If only.
I do. Sound recording is our next nominee or category rather. And the nominees are A Farewell to Arms on behalf of Paramount, 42nd Street, my beloved, on behalf of Warner Brothers, Gold Diggers of 1933, also Warner Brothers, also Busby Berkeley, and I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, also Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers had 3 chances to take the win here, and they didn't. It was Farewell to Arms for Paramount. When we talk about sound recording, I'm interested from your perspective. We have 2 musicals on the list here. And then we have I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, a movie that we both loved.
Correct.
From this year. And then we have A Farewell to Arms. Does anything stand out to you as to why Farewell to Arms would win here, and how do you feel about that?
Looking back at the movie, I'm like, what? For what?
There sure was sound.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they hit record. Yeah, nice job, guys. But you have 2 movies here that really sparked the return of the musical itself.
Defined what it could be.
Exactly. And here, we mentioned that first, second, and third were announced at the Oscars. So second was I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, and Gold Diggers was third. So 42nd Street was dead last here, and that is the one that just sparked everything and was nominated for Best Picture. It is mind-blowing.
I wonder if this is like a Marty McFly situation of like, well, you may not like it, but your kids are going to love it.
Right, but like the kids are in the audience in that scenario, and they're like, yeah, we love it.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And again, we both did. We loved I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang.
Totally.
And I still don't fully understand why that would get a sound recording nomination win over the other 2.
To me, it would be 42nd, Gold Diggers, and then I Am a Fugitive.
And then Farewell to Arms.
Yes. Bizarre.
So actually the inverse.
Yeah.
Of what they did.
You got it. That's the one.
Absolutely crazy. That leads us to art direction. You want to take that one?
For art direction, we had Cavalcade, William S. Darling, A Farewell to Arms for Hans Dreyer and Roland Anderson, and When Ladies Meet, Cedric Gibbons. Big names there. Actually, the order I read them is the placing for that category. Cavalcade took home the win.
This makes some sense, right? I mean, while we don't want it to, it makes some sense with the backdrops that were chosen. Even that segment that we talked about that has the the war montage with all the scenes happening behind it. The art direction is inspired.
Yeah.
And I would say it's maybe a highlight of the movie. Otherwise, with Farewell to Arms, I can see there are segments of the art direction, but not nearly as present.
You know, I think about like the hospital in Farewell to Arms, and it was so much more interesting to me than anything in Cavalcade.
Sure.
So I guess I'm like okay with this, but I would have much rather had seen A Farewell to Arms take home the win.
Okay, that makes some sense. I mean, I haven't seen When Ladies Meet.
I haven't either. I watched 67% of the nominees this year, and that was not one of them.
You know what's so funny? I feel like with art direction, I can't really stand by it. Maybe just because I loved it so much, I want to see I'm a Fugitive up here.
Yeah.
Just take more wins.
I agree. God,
it's so good. That takes us to cinematography, which I'm happy to talk to you about, kind of. So we have our 3 nominees. A Farewell to Arms. This was Bryant Lang Jr. Reunion in Vienna, George J. Folsey. And The Sign of the Cross, Carl Struss. And the win here went to Charles Bryant Lang Jr. for A Farewell to Arms.
Yes.
Again, the only one that I've seen is Farewell to Arms out of these 3. Have you seen?
I've seen The Sign of the Cross, which should have won.
Did you just watch this?
Yeah.
You just
last
it.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fantastic. It's one of these huge, like, biblical sword and sandals type movies. And man, the set design in this is incredible. There is a whole gladiator combat scene, which is wild. There's like animals, they're fighting lions and tigers and
Oh my.
women warriors in it, which is so cool.
I really wish you had said woman warriors faster so I could have hit the oh my after that.
I should have. It's really crazy. Also, want to point out there's a scene where Claudette Colbert takes a bath in a giant swimming pool of goat's milk.
Did you dream this?
Worth the price of admission alone, honestly.
That sounds like a fever dream.
This is actually featured in the Pre-Code Hollywood book, who we've talked about so much. Kim Luperi and Danny Reed.
Pre-Code Essentials.
Yeah, Pre-Code Essentials.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yes, featured in there. It's a cool movie, man. It's really cool.
I mean, I would like to check it out, especially with everything that happens with Claudette Colbert next year. It's interesting to hear that she's, stripping down into a bath of goat's milk.
Yeah, man.
But not in front of Clark Gable.
No.
We'll talk about it.
In front of Charles Lawton, actually.
Oh, my God. For a second, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure Clark Gable was definitely in the movie I'm thinking of. Yikes. Okay, writing is going to be our next, and it's split up, as always, from adaptation and original.
Yeah. So for the adaptation category, we have Lady for a Day, Robert Riskin, Little Women, Victor Heerman and Sarah Y. Mason, and State Fair, Paul Green and Sonia Levian. And the winner here was Little Women, going to Victor Heerman and Sarah Y. Mason.
I mean, this was always going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Maybe just because we know the history of Little Women, but even at this point, the history of Little Women was clear and present.
Right. It's almost like Little Women as a source material has so much weight behind it that it wasn't going to go to anybody else.
Sure. I mean, Lady for a Day being nominated is nice, just for Robert Riskin and Frank Capra and what's to come. But certainly, it makes sense with something like Little Women.
Yeah. And it's a great adaptation, really.
Yeah.
We both enjoyed it as much as I think we could have for the 1933 adaptation.
I actually met up with Ashton yesterday, frequent listener and Patreon member, and we were talking about Little Women specifically, and she had said she's watched all of them, and she likes, the 90s one the best, but also appreciates the Greta Gerwig one. And she said this one was actually pretty fantastic. She went back and watched this one in preparation for the pod, and she was really happy with it overall.
Katharine Hepburn, baby.
That highlight for her.
Absolutely.
As one of, like a really great Joe March.
Yeah.
I think was her words and her review on Letterboxd.
Nice.
Yeah. You know what? They did it right. They got the right
I agree.
answer on this one.
And it's always nice having seen all 3 of the nominees. We can really have an opinion on it.
And what a great segue to original screenplay.
Oh, okay. So this is cool. We have, for original story, One Way Passage by Robert Lord, The Prize Fighter and the Lady by our girl Frances Marion. Good to see her name show
This
back
is also
up.
the original name of this podcast, right? You and I.
Yeah, the prize fighter and the lady.
Yeah.
Hey, Queen.
Put a poll of who you think is who.
You'll never guess. Rasputin and the Empress for Charles MacArthur.
The second name for the podcast.
And you'll never guess that one either. So I want to lead into this by saying I did watch Rasputin and the Empress, which has a wild performance by Lionel Barrymore playing Rasputin.
Oh, you just watched this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is pretty solid, too. He's weird, man.
Again, John Barrymore is not afraid to be a little rat boy.
This is Lionel.
Oh, it's Lionel?
Yeah, well, all of the
all the
Barrymores are in this, including...
Drew?
That was pretty good. They're all in it. Lionel's crazy in it, though. He's pretty wild. I did not watch The Prize Fighter and the Lady. However, the winner here was One Way Passage, which I gotta say is one of the best movies released this year.
Oh, really?
It really is. It is the story of a criminal who is on a cruise ship and a terminally ill woman, and they have a chance meeting. They fall in love, and neither one of them wants to reveal to the other one their secret. He's a criminal, she's terminally ill. And, you know, there's a little bit of that back and forth of, oh, I guess I should tell her this. I guess I should tell him this. It's real short. It's like 68 minutes or something. Wow. And we talk a lot about how movies don't stick the ending very well, even moving into next year's movies and some of the big hitters there.
Yeah.
This movie sticks the ending perfectly.
Nice.
It's well worth your time.
How can you watch that?
I think I watched it on YouTube. It definitely has a physical release.
Oh, great.
So worth seeking out.
I will check it out. Great. Well, that takes us on to directing. And directing is going to have our first of two notable Will Rogers appearances. So, directing, our nominees were Cavalcade, Frank Lloyd, Lady for a Day, Frank Capra, Little Women, George Cukor.
Cukor.
God. One day I'll do it. All right. So, with these three directing nominations, you have Frank Lloyd, Frank Capra, and George Cukor.
Yeah.
So, what ends up happening is that Will Rogers takes a stage, and he talks a bit about, at length, the director of the year. And he says, my good friend, Frank.
Yeah.
He also says, Frank's rise to prominence. And finally, he says, come and get it, Frank.
I almost wanted to role play this and have you be Frank Capra and I be Will Rogers.
I'm happy to do it if you want to do it now.
Okay, so
here we go.
You know, best director, right?
Yeah.
And the nominees.
I'm Capra specifically.
Exactly.
Got
yes.
it. Okay, yeah.
And the nominees are, and then I go through the nominees, and then I say, well, I open the envelope. Mm-hmm. What do you know? I've watched this young man for a long time. I saw him come up from the bottom, and I mean the bottom.
That's me. Yeah.
It couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
That's me.
You know, come up and get it, Frank.
What?
And there's cheering.
What? It's my time. I've done so many movies. This is me.
Sit down.
But I won.
Sit down, Frank
said
Capra.
Frank.
And we got Frank Lloyd up here. Congratulations, Frank Lloyd.
Oh my God.
Way to go on your direction of Cavalcade. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
My God.
I can't imagine another Frank
There's nothing that's going to happen to me that's good right now.
ever being up here again.
Oh, it's a terrible life.
Any other Frank really is like the worst person in the world.
I feel like a jackass for the day.
Like, what do you do from here if you are another Frank who also is a director? Like,
Mr. Capra, go back to his seat.
Anyway, congratulations to Frank Lloyd, who took home Best Director here. Can you imagine being Capra in this moment?
I think I just did.
That's a good point. Nicely done, by the way. Bravo.
I appreciate that.
Well done.
I don't know if you caught, I threw a couple movie references.
I did. It was solid.
It's a terrible life.
That was good.
Yeah, no, look, here's the thing. This is really funny because this is kind of like a, they all laughed at me, like, success story beginning, where he's like, oh, this is terrible. And then, of course, the career that Frank Capra has.
Yeah.
This is just like a little blip. It's not a big deal whatsoever.
Right.
Obviously pretty embarrassing. He's described this as like I'm paraphrasing, but like the longest crawl in history or the most embarrassing crawl in history.
I can
back
imagine.
to his seat.
Yeah.
But look, this is kind of on Frank Capra for being a little presumptuous. It's mostly on Will Rogers for being a little jester.
Yeah. Insane.
Maybe he didn't mean this. Maybe he wasn't looking at two guys named Frank. But you got to think with what's to come of what he does say later on, that this is a little bit of like a let's have some fun.
Yeah. And Will Rogers was kind of showboating the whole night. Again, there is something to come, but he also was doing a lot of the like slow opening of the envelope and being like, and the winner is blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of cliche thing you see at the Academy Awards now, even today, that originated here with Will Rogers. So it's wild how him being just kind of cheeky evolved into one of the most like identifiable tropes of the Academy Awards.
It's crazy. I mean, again, I love Will Rogers for this, and I do love Frank Capra, but this is a very funny moment. And it seems like he can laugh about this. I mean, he's talked about this at length. He doesn't shy away from it. So ultimately, a good-natured thing.
Yeah.
But
boy,
pretty embarrassing at the time, I'm sure.
I don't know what I would do for the rest of my life. It is funny in that Oscar Wars book. It says at the end of like that whole story, like, and Frank slunk back home to his pregnant wife and work on his next film. It happened one night.
Yeah. Wow. What a loser.
What a loser.
That joke will, if you don't understand, will be much funnier next month when we talk about It Happened One Night.
Yes, it will.
The one notable movie of his I didn't cite in that one-man play.
Oh.
Two-man play. All right, that takes us to actress. Do you want to take the nominees on this one?
Yes. And then can we role play again? I really like
We will need to, because this is the return of Will Rogers.
He's back, baby, with a vengeance.
His goofy little performances.
So, for Best Actress, we have Katharine Hepburn in Morning Glory.
Not Little Women.
Not Little Women. May Robson in Lady for a Day. And Diana Wynyard in Cavalcade.
Now, do you want to set this up?
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. I'm Will Rogers.
Who am I?
You are...
Am I both?
Yeah, you're both.
Okay. Got it.
So, and the nominees are blah, blah, blah. So, actually, if I could have... I just want to point out, too, that Katharine Hepburn was not in attendance tonight. So,
okay.
If I could have both present nominees on stage, can I get May Robson and Diana Wynyard up here, ladies?
Oh.
Everybody's clapping. Everybody's like, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
You know,
what do you want us both up here? The tie, perhaps?
I just want to say that both of you ladies gave sparkling performances this year in both in Lady for a Day and Cavalcade. I was completely moved by both of you.
You were so good as Apple Annie.
And I think the Academy agrees.
It should be you.
When they say that the winner here, deservingly so.
Yes. It's you. It's you, Diane. I know.
Goes to Katharine Hepburn.
Who? What?
Clap, 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 clap.
That's not either of us. Why are we?
You ladies can go sit
Why are
down.
we up here? What is this for?
And then Katharine Hepburn's not even there.
Yeah. What happened? Like, here's the thing with the Frank thing. It's 100% like it could be just an oversight. Like, oh, we didn't think about this and how embarrassing for them. This is a scamp move. Like, this is like a God. Come on up here.
What are you doing, Will?
Now, here's the kicker. Maybe his thought was all three nominees should come up, and then like we highlight the one who won. But when the winner isn't there, and he knows this,
right?
Maybe you don't invite everyone up there. The only thing, and this is the only thing, all of the stars have to align this way, is that he doesn't know the winner before he opens the card, which I don't know if that's true.
I don't think they were doing that yet. It wasn't until there was a scandal at a later Oscar ceremony,
right,
that they were starting to hide the winner. Yeah.
Okay, so he had to have known.
Yeah.
So he's just being a little rascal here. Which again, as an audience member, I love.
Right.
But for the two actresses who were nominated and didn't win, Diana and May, devastating.
I just want to know what Frank Capra was doing in this moment. Like when Diana and May went back to their seats, if he was just like, yeah, it doesn't feel so good, does it?
Yeah, Frank's like, yeah, how's that feel? He's still worse off than they are. But
totally.
The other thing, too, is that Diana was nominated for Cavalcade, May nominated for Lady for a Day, both nominated for Best Picture.
Right.
Katharine Hepburn for Morning Glory, not even nominated for Best Picture.
Correct.
So in their eyes, they're probably like, well, look, it was always down to the two of us. We got this in the bag.
Right.
And specifically, Diana Wynyard, her performance in Cavalcade was being like heralded for some reason. I can't say I understand.
Yeah, who knows?
And also, for that matter, May Robson was also being highly talked about. So these were two like very probable wins for both of them.
Right.
So if that had come down to Katharine Hepburn, which, I mean, if you're going to lose Best Actress, losing it to Katharine Hepburn, is that really that bad of a gig?
Well, now in hindsight, yeah, it's like, of course she won.
Right.
I did watch Morning Glory, by the way. Nice short film. She is fantastic in it. I think she is much more interesting in Little Women. I think Jo March is just a more interesting character.
Totally.
And it really highlights her performance more. So I'm happy that Katharine Hepburn won. I just think it was for the wrong movie.
That makes sense. So remind me, Katharine Hepburn, was she Harrison Ford's character or Diane Keaton's character in Morning Glory? Or was she Patrick Wilson? Was she Rachel McAdams?
Drew Barrymore.
I only know the Morning Glory from like 2014.
I don't know that movie, so that was a joke that flew way over
You're
my
so
head.
okay. It's a rom-com about morning shows.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay. I imagine this was not based remotely on this movie you're talking about. Joke done. Actor is where we'll move on to, and this wraps up our Will Rogers, you silly little goofball segment. The actor nominations are as follows: Leslie Howard in Berkeley Square, Charles Laughton in The Private Life of Henry VIII, perhaps if you've heard of him, and Paul Muni in I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang. If you were nominating, or rather, crowning one of these three men for these performances, it's Paul Muni, right?
You know, it's tough because I like his performance the most out of all of these.
Sure.
Have not seen Leslie Howard in Berkeley Square. But I do think that Charles Laughton is doing something interesting with Henry VIII.
I'll agree he's doing something.
Yeah, like, you know, we talked about like his gross eating habits in like the dining scene or whatever. That's not what it's called.
The chicken scene.
Feast. Yeah, the chicken scene. And
Banquet.
Thank you. Yes. That's not like behavior or an acting style that was really on display in film up to this point. So like I kind of lean a little bit towards Charles Laughton, but if Paul Muni won, I'd be like, great, fantastic, deserving.
I think I just liked his performance more.
Yeah.
In that, I mean, certainly Charles Laughton is on something in that role. But yeah, Paul Muni was great. So I would probably go Paul. But the winner here was Charles Laughton in The Private Life of Henry VIII. And this was pretty notable. I mean, the first win for a British actor, right? In the Oscars.
Yeah. And he also was not in attendance.
What's going on?
I think he was busy. Probably out getting a free chicken.
As we know, he always was in restaurants.
Yes, he was. Just like all of us, really.
Are you getting free chicken at a restaurant?
Don't ask me about my business.
Well, you just put it out there. So, which leaves us with outstanding production. And Kyle, take us home.
Here we are. You know them. You love some of them. We've got Cavalcade, Fox Studios, A Farewell to Arms, Paramount, 42nd Street, Warner Brothers, I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, Warner Brothers, Lady for a Day, Columbia, Poverty Row Pictures there,
Hello.
Little Women, RKO Radio, The Private Life of Henry VIII, London Films, also United Artists, She Done Him Wrong, Paramount, Smilin' Through, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and State Fair, Fox. And the winner of the 6th Academy Awards is Cavalcade.
It just feels weird.
Which is wild. This is the first time on the podcast that the absolute least enjoyable movie took home Best Picture for us.
Oh, is that true?
The closest standout is Cimarron, but that was also the year of Trader Horn.
Yes. So you're right. So on a technicality, Cimarron was not the least enjoyable, but pretty close.
Yeah, I think this, for a lot of people that go back and watch just the Best Picture winners, this is known kind of like the bottom of the barrel for winners. You know, we've said our piece about Cavalcade. It's boring. It's not really well done.
No.
It's not an interesting story at all. But it did take home Best Picture at the 6th Academy Awards.
It did. And I can't say I'm the biggest fan. Normally, this is where we would cut to the portion of the show where we say what you, the audience of the Discord and Patreon, have voted as the Best Picture or Best Picture winner. That wasn't Cavalcade. And if maybe it was Cavalcade, maybe they got it right at that time.
Yeah.
And what did that poll look like, Kyle?
So, to speak a little more on that, we have our Patreon poll, like you said, if you want to participate in that, patreon.com/OUTAO podcast. Mm-hmm. if you want to vote in future polls. But we do have an upset. Cavalcade is not the Best Picture winner, as chosen by you, the Patreon members.
You did it. Good job, everyone.
Thank you so much. The winner is I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang.
I think this is right.
I think so too. This is definitely the film I think we both enjoyed the most. It is, to me, the movie out of all 10 nominees that has withstood the test of time to the highest degree, followed closely probably by 42nd Street.
Yeah, I really liked 42nd Street, but it'd be criminal to say that it is better than I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang.
Right. So shout out to you guys for making a difference. It would hurt me so bad if Cavalcade was still the winner.
Double winner.
Yeah. But again, if you want to participate in future polls, check out patreon.com/OUTAO podcast. Some quick highlights of the Academy year here. Just throw out some knowledge.
Debut of Frank Capra and then Academy.
Yeah, we had that. Debut of Katharine Hepburn at the Academy. I feel like we spent so much time talking about these movies, and this was one of the first examples of like what was a rough month for us, just on the back end of like recording. And I don't want to say a rough month. We were watching 3 movies a week. We were
covering 3 movies a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was the first example of like what an exhausting month is going to look like, an exhausting year is going to look like for us here at Once Upon a Time at the Oscars. As you know, at home, a lot of future years are going to include 10 nominees. And it's going to be very similar. We're going to be doing like 3 episodes a week. So how do you feel in general about this year and really the way that we covered the movies?
Well, I mean, I'll say that I really enjoyed some of the entries from this year. I mean, my introduction to Busby Berkeley, my introduction to Paul Muni for I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, my continuation of Mervyn LeRoy's films. Like, there's a lot of good that came out of this year.
Totally.
Our first and only Mae West coverage that we'll do here, but introduction to Mae West for me. I enjoyed my time with Smiling Through a good bit, even though it's kind of an uneven film. Little Women. That was fantastic to see another adaptation of that I hadn't seen previously. And of course, Frank Capra. Like, I really enjoyed Lady for a Day.
Yeah.
So I thought I would have liked Farewell to Arms a bit more. Kind of disappointed with that entry. But overall, more good than bad this year. And not extremely present in the wins of the nominations. But a lot of good that came out of this year and a lot that shapes what's to come.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
It's very funny, like, the 2 highest nominated and award-winning films this year are like 2 of our least favorite. Cavalcade had 4 nominations and 3 wins. Farewell had 4 nominations and 2 wins. Poor Frank Capra couldn't cut a break. He thought he was going to be setting records this year. Lady for a Day had 4 nominations, didn't win anything. So that was a long walk back to his seat for sure.
Well, no reason to feel bad for Frank Capra because just next year for him, next month for us, he will be breaking a different kind of record.
Absolutely, he will. So that's the 6th Academy Awards. If you have thoughts, I don't have anything to read. We didn't get any write-ins for this year. But if you do have thoughts in the future about any of the movies or really anything going on in the year that we cover, feel free to shoot us an email at outaopodcast@gmail.com. This year, we didn't have any guests on the podcast. We took a little break from that. We're looking to have more of those in the future year, especially because it's going to be a little weird next month in our coverage.
Yeah, a lot of nominations to cover.
Yeah, we mentioned there are 13 nominees in the 1934 coverage, and that's just too much to squeeze into one month. So the next 2 years, 34 and 35, both have 13, and we're splitting them up across 3 months. So next month, we will be going through maybe half-ish, a little more than half of the nominees, and then the ceremony will be smack in the middle of July, and then we'll pick up with 35 for the remainder of July, and then close out August with that year's ceremony.
Yep.
So if you felt like this was a little bit rushed, our coverage of 1934, you do get a little bit of a break from that, and we're going to stretch out the next 2 Academy years.
Yep, sure will.
But like you said, there's some cool stuff coming next year, not only with the films we're covering, It Happened One Night, Viva Villa is going to be something we talk about, Flirtation Walk, The Return of Frank Borzage, and Dick Powell and Ruby Keeler. Like, definitely some interesting things, but also some changes to the Academy Awards themselves. New categories that I'm excited to talk about. We have editing introduced next year, as well as music for both song and original score. So, big deals in the Academy. Things that we still talk about today.
A lot to come.
Some last things I want to throw out before we wrap. We will be having our watch party this Friday in just 2 days. That's May 29th. We have decided that this will be the opportunity where we announce, we've talked about it, we've hinted at it for a little while, our bonus pod episode available to Patreon members exclusively. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's called Horror of the Overlooked. It is going to be a new series where Kyle and I spend 30 minutes to talk about every month the horror that was overlooked or the horror movies that were overlooked of that year. We'll start with 1934 and kind of look back a little bit on what's come before that. But it's interesting that we can talk this year because what we're going to do is on the 13th of every month, you will see an episode released on Patreon, about 30 minutes for us to talk about horror. And fitting for the 13th, we are going to be starting with talking about The Black Cat and some other horror that came out in that year, along with the horror that came out prior to that was not recognized in the Academy. It's something that we specifically are very passionate about with horror, and we love horror now. We love to see how involved horror is with the Academy more so than before. That was always the case. So it's interesting and a great opportunity for us to kind of highlight a genre that we love and that was very prevalent at the time, just not in the Academy. So you can look forward to seeing that starting on June 13th.
Yep.
And you will see that first episode exclusively on Patreon.
Yeah, absolutely. And to tie back in our watch party on the 29th, we will be watching The Black Cat, which will be discussed that first episode of Horror of the Overlooked. So I'm really excited about that. Again, another reason to check out the Patreon if you're looking for a little something extra, you're not getting enough of Once Upon a Time at the Oscars, or you're just wanting us to explore something a little different than the Best Picture nominees. That's a great opportunity. So patreon.com/OUTAO podcast. And then you can join the Discord and, have fun with watch parties and chatting and doing all of the above.
Be sure to check it out. We'll be there.
Totally. The first episode we'll be covering next year is Flirtation Walk. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, thanks for another successful month, another successful year.
Another great year. We've knocked out the 6th Academy Awards. Now we're on to the 7. We're not doing the meme.
We're not.
And certainly not on a audio podcast where you can't see the visuals.
Exactly. So hopefully we'll see you guys on the next episode for the 1934 Academy Award year. As always, I'm Kyle.
And I'm both Rasputin and the Empress.
And we'll
see you at the movies.